San Diego Padres already making some impressive moves this offseason. Angels also addressing some of their issues. Starting pitching, maybe some relieving. Dodgers MIA this offseason as we break it down here in the next episode of Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. I am the host, Alex Naveja, and if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to another episode of Sideline Sports Podcast, number 16 to be more exact. I am the host, Alex Naveja, as this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast is brought to you by Lean Mean Meals. Make sure to get your meal prep done with them today. They have your breakfast, your lunch, and even your dinner. You can also get your detox juices done with Ms. Dominguez, along with your cold brew coffee. Perfect for this cold weather right now. Holiday seasons are here right now. So I'll make sure to put the website down in the description down below. Make sure to use my promo code SIDELINE10 to save yourself 10% on all of your orders. So make sure to take advantage of that. And again, thank you so much to everybody that has been showing the appreciation for Sideline Sports Podcast. We are 2 subscribers away from the 100 subscribers mark for Sideline Sports Podcast. So I thank you so much for reaching 98. Let's reach that 100 before the end of the year. But without further ado, let's get started. I mean, there's been a lot going on over in SoCal sports. I mean, the one thing I really want to talk about was Clay Helton, and the sports information director. He's actually going to be keeping Clay Helton as the head coach for USC football. And you know what? A lot of USC fans are really scratching their heads right about now, and they're just wondering, why? Why are we keeping Clay Helton when Urban Meyer can be an option for the Trojans? Are you serious? Where the Trojans currently right now finishing off the season ranked number 22 in the nation. You're telling me if there's an opportunity for USC to be in top 5, even be one of the top teams in the nation, USC's not going to try to go for Urban Meyer, a coach that has some pretty insane credentials and, has a pretty impressive resume? Winning a championship with Ohio State, along with playing or coaching for Florida Gators, along with the Utah Utes, and even with Colorado State. I mean, you're not even the slightest of chances? USC, what are you doing right now? What are you doing? I get it, you have faith in Clay Helton, but at the same time, you got to do what's best for the program. Last week, Hector Aguayo was talking about how if they get a coach like Urban Meyer to come into the program, then this is going to bring way better recruits to come in. We're bringing guys from the East Coast and a lot of potential and a lot of talent. And you're telling me you're not going to not even try to get Urban Meyer? What are you thinking right now, USC? And I personally do not think I don't think it was a good idea for them to bring back Clay Helton. And this is a coach that's mediocre. He's all right, but I mean, just if you have an opportunity to bring a very talented head coach with a very impressive resume, why hesitate at all? If this is going to be for your opportunity to be the Pac-12 champions next year, to bring in some very good recruits, to be able to help out Keaton Slovis, who is a very talented quarterback, JT Daniels as well, that would have been some healthy competition for the program right there. And you're not going to bring in Urban Meyer? Unacceptable, if you ask me. Unacceptable by USC right there. Should have at least given Urban Meyer an interview, or should have at least given him a shot, or even considered that idea. But I mean, we'll wait and see what USC ends up doing in the offseason. I mean, they're going to be watching from the sidelines. They're going to be watching from home, see how the Utah and the Oregon game goes over this weekend. So we'll see. I'm just saying, if they had Urban Meyer, they would be the ones playing there next year. Even be able to advance even further. Imagine how far USC can go. Think back to 2004 when they won it all. I'm pretty sure USC would give anything to be there again. To be an elite school where everybody wants to go to USC because Urban Meyer is there. Big time player, a former player, big time coach as well. Everybody's going to want to be there with Urban Meyer. And everyone's going to want to come to Los Angeles. Everyone wants to come to California. Great weather, great scenery. There's always things to do here in Los Angeles, California. So there's going to be a lot of potential. And USC, still, you're thinking, let's go with Clay Helton again? You can't even win the Pac-12. What makes you think you're going to be able to be great? So we'll wait and see what USC ends up doing. But let's move on forward. I mean, MLB free agency. We got some pretty good moves going on already over here in SoCal. We'll go ahead and start right off with it. And let's talk about the San Diego Padres. This team is no joke. They are not playing right now. San Diego Padres right away, they made a trade to acquire Zach Davies and Trent Grisham. Very great pieces for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the trade, I believe it was Luis Urias. I don't remember the other players that were a part of the trade, but I'll tell you right now, they weren't big-time pieces that were given up by the Padres. And I mean, they are flooding with top prospects in that minor league system. So there was just a little slap on the wrist for the San Diego Padres to get back Zach Davies and to get Trent Grisham. These are great pieces. Zach Davies, I'm just going to say it and put it out there. Davies can be their number one, potentially number two pitcher. If and only if they don't sign a guy, which I'll talk a little bit about. And you know what? If you've been keeping up with Sideline Sports Podcast, you know which name I'm going to go with. But I'll keep you guys hanging in the meantime. But in the meantime, Zach Davies is going to be your number one guy if you are the San Diego Padres. And Trent Grisham, despite him not getting a one whole year of Major League time, he's got stuff. He's got great stuff. The guy's got a great arm. The guy's got a great bat. And next thing you know, the Milwaukee Brewers completely forgot that Yelich was even gone and he was in the IL. So Christian Yelich is just, who is he again? He was an MVP candidate, but you know, when Grisham showed up to the scene, Grisham just stole the spotlight from Yelich, and it was just, wow, that's amazing. So I like this trade by the Padres. I really do. I like more, you know what, I like them both, actually. I like the fact that they enforce their pitching, and they also enforce their outfield. So, I mean, great stuff by the Padres. Good option for them, I would say. But they weren't even done with that. They signed Drew Pomeranz in a 4-year deal. I believe it was worth $74 million total. And Drew Pomeranz is a former Padre, so he's already familiar with San Diego, with Petco Park, and he's already familiar with his old roots. So to bring Drew Pomeranz back to the Padres, I'm okay with the move. I mean, Pomeranz hasn't been as consistent as he has previously in the past, but you know, they're really trying to make moves, and they're really trying to be a contending team and really trying to keep up with the Dodgers here in this offseason. So, I mean, the Padres, they're not playing no more. They're not playing anymore. Each year, it just seems as though they are signing bigger and better players. I mean, they signed Eric Hosmer at some point. Even before that, they signed for Will Myers, who's a big-time, who's a good player. I'm going to say he's a great player for the San Diego Padres. A little bit high on the strikeout numbers, but he is a big-time player and could be a very good franchise player for the Padres. And then this last offseason to sign Manny Machado, that's a pretty impactful move right there. Those are some big-time players right there. And then remember, they are going to get their young phenom back in Fernando Tatis Jr. He will be back this coming year. So just imagine what that's going to do for the defense. So the pitching, they're already building that up. Grisham being on that outfield spot. He's going to be with Margot. I imagine he's going to be with Hunter Renfroe as well. Pretty heavy bopper outfield right there for the San Diego Padres. So I'm excited. And you know what? I still don't think that it's going to be over. I'm still going to say the Padres are really going to go big on Steven Strasburg. Strasburg is going to come back to his alma mater right there by San Diego State. He's going to want to make an impact, new organization, new fresh move. He already has the hardware. He already has the ring. So why not go back home? Go back and help your roots. Remember where you started. So I think that would be a great move for the San Diego Padres. I think after they get Steven Strasburg, I think they're going to be in there for the wild card spot, at least in the wild card race. And even then, I'm going to say this right now. I think they're going to be in that fight for the top spot in the National League West. Especially just how the Dodgers are sitting right now. Dodgers have not made a move. We'll get to some signings that they've done, but they haven't been acquiring any new players. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that later on the episode. But I'm buying in on the Padres right now. They just redid. They remade their uniforms. They're going back with the brown with the mustard SD look. I'm digging it. They're doing it all, you know. It's a new wardrobe change, you know. Manny Machado was modeling it along with Fernando Tatis and Eric Hosmer. They were all modeling. They were all for it for that new change. So I'm really interested to see on what the Padres are going to do next. But I'm not going to sleep on the idea of Steven Strasburg being the next candidate for San Diego Padres. I mean, these last 3-4 years, they've really dug into their wallet to really get these big-time free agent signings. And I have to say, last year, it was a better year for the San Diego Padres. I know they still didn't make it to the playoffs. They didn't even squeeze into a wild card spot, but you have to look at the lineup and you have to look at them on the field, and you definitely know that it was a complete different team. You know, the chemistry was better. The defense was better. It was just a different team. More top prospects getting opportunities. A lot more call-ups from El Paso, from the Chihuahuas. They got a lot more guys being called up from AAA. We're going to go ahead and take a break here in Sideline Sports Podcast. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Angels and some of the moves that they've done already this offseason. And maybe they're going to be another team from SoCal that's going to be making some moves, along with what's going on with the Dodgers. We'll wait and see, as we'll be back on Sideline Sports Podcast, where if you're not on a sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast.
This is Hector Aguayo, the long snapper for the Santa Ana Dons, and you're watching Sideline Sports Podcast.
Welcome back to Sideline Sports Podcast, presented by Lean Mean Meals. Now let's jump back into business. We're talking about Major League Baseball free agency, and we were just talking about the Padres and some of the moves that they've already done so far, which, you know what, I completely forgot one move that they made as well. They acquired Jurickson Profar as well right away. It was within 2-3 days after they traded away Luis Urias from the organization. They found a replacement second baseman in Jurickson Profar from the Oakland A's. So it goes to show you how serious the Padres are in being the contending team. They're really just, it looks like that infield is already set up. They have Hosmer at first. They're going to have Profar at second. It's going to be Tatis over at short, Machado over at third. Then they're going to have Austin Hedges over behind the plate. So looking pretty solid already right there for the San Diego Padres. So I'm really excited to just see the Padres and the Friars, you know, take on the rest of the league, take on the National League West. So it's going to be fun to watch. I'm going to say Padres are probably going to be in the mix for maybe finishing up in second or even at third, since the National League West has really gone down. We can't expect the Giants to have a big-time year with Bumgarner potentially leaving the organization. The Rockies, they've been having a very quiet offseason, not exactly wanting to finish off the year that they wanted to. And the Diamondbacks, I mean, same story. It's all been quiet. I mean, the National League West has just been a desert. Nothing's been going on there, but the Padres have been making a lot of noise, so I see them being in their second or even third. I still think the Dodgers are dominant offensively, and I think they can I think pitching-wise, they're still better. But let's talk about the other team that's over in Orange County. Some people say Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. But you know what? To me, they're Anaheim, and they're going to be staying in Anaheim as they have just reached an agreement with the city of Anaheim. They'll be staying here in the city of Anaheim all the way till the year 2050. And honestly, at first I was really getting kind of accustomed to the idea of being the Long Beach Angels. Does that sound right? Hey, if it sounds right to you guys, I want to hear you guys. Comment down below. I want to see if, does that make sense to you guys? I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me. I'm just so accustomed to the Anaheim Angels. I mean, it really bugs me, the fact that the Angels got the name Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Is it Los Angeles or is it Anaheim? It's Anaheim, folks. It's Anaheim. So I don't understand why they would change the name to Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Just keep it Anaheim Angels. So that doesn't make any sense to me. Whoever made up with the name, I think you're crazy. They should have just kept it as Anaheim Angels. But still, pretty good news to all of the fans over in Anaheim. They don't have to move, or they don't have to drive even further away to catch their favorite Orange County team. So good news. I actually like that the Angels actually reached an agreement with the city, and they're going to stick around because that is a really nice stadium. I will give the Angels that, and for an organization that I believe is on the rise and on the horizon for this coming year, I'm not sleeping on the Angels. I really think if they make the right moves this offseason, this is going to be a team that can just go, wow. They are going to make a jump. I mean, as long as the Astros are the Astros right now, I don't think the Angels are going to take the division, but you know how the wild card game goes. Is the best baseball, September baseball, and I think the Angels can really make a statement there. Potentially, I say they could be that number one wild card spot right there. Host a wild card game over in Anaheim. That's more attraction for the state of California, and just more. I mean, more baseball you could get in California, the better. That's how I always think of it as well. But now let's talk about some free agent moves that the Angels made this offseason so far. I mean, the Angels, they made a trade to acquire Dylan Bundy from the Baltimore Orioles, and I like the direction that the Angels are headed. I liked the Dylan Bundy move, despite Dylan Bundy having an ERA and in the fours. I believe it was 4.27. Don't quote me on that, but his ERA was around 4. So the Angels, I like it. I like the direction that they're going, because I know you guys can agree with me, but Angels' offense is pretty solid. They're pretty stacked. They have Pujols, they have Trout, they have Shohei Ohtani. They have weapons. I mean, Andrelton Simmons can be in that argument as well, and they definitely have a lot of capability, that offense. But when you look at that pitching, there's only one pitcher that has thrown over 100 innings. Yikes. Not exactly the type of starting rotation that you'll want to have there. So the Angels bringing Dylan Bundy, who's going to be eating up innings for that starting rotation, I like it. I like that move. They gave up 4 prospects to the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles continuously on that very lengthy rebuild, but don't have them succeeding anytime soon. But I'm getting off topic right there. But Angels, one move I want to see them make is I honestly wanted them to sign Zach Wheeler. That would have been a great move for the Angels. But, you know, Phillies, they're in that same boat. They are eager for a World Series. They are eager to contend in that National League East, which is, that's going to be fun to watch now with the Nationals, former champions, the Braves. Wow, they are ridiculous. But speaking of the Braves, I actually want to see Cole Hamels to be signed by the Angels. Or very quickly, even the Dodgers. But we'll get to the Dodgers in just a moment. But the Angels, all they have to do is address that pitching. And as long as they address the pitching, then I really have a lot of faith in the Angels, because when you have successful pitching, you can really shut out those successful hitters that the American League has. I mean, they have so many amazing batters that can just go yard anytime that they want. So the Angels, trust me, don't sweat. I have faith in what the Angels are trying to do. Don't sleep on the Angels, because if they can address that pitching, then they are going to make a difference in their organization. Now, we're already talking about pitching. Let's go right out of it. Dodger fans, I'm talking about you guys, and I'm talking about the pitching. I'm talking about what they need exactly. I'm tired of hearing the Dodgers wanting to trade for Lindor, wanting to trade for... I'm hearing Joey Gallo now. I'm hearing Mookie Betts. Yes, those are great guys. But the Dodgers don't need any of those guys. What they need is pitching. They needed Cole Hamels. He is from SoCal. Bring the guy back. But you missed out on that opportunity. Atlanta Braves signed him 1 year, $18 million. For $18 million, you could have brought a solid number 3 pitcher right there. You could have had Buehler. You re-sign Hyun-Jin Ryu, and then you can have Cole Hamels as your number 3 pitcher. Then, I mean, you could put Kershaw because he's a good regular season pitcher, and then you could have put Kenta Maeda. Wow, that's great right there. And then you can juggle and you can play with your cards, shuffle the deck, and you could potentially put Julio Urias on that starting rotation too. But Dodgers, quit with these trade talks about saying, oh, Lindor, Gallo, Mookie Betts. No, you don't need those guys. You don't need them. You need pitching. You need to address the starting pitching, and dear God, you need to address the relievers. You need to address the bullpen. For crying out loud, you lost because of the bullpen. Your bullpen blew them games. So enough with these trade talks. If you're going to talk about trades, I want to hear bringing back the Corey Kluber trade. That is a trade that potentially can go through. I want to hear more about that. I want to hear about the Dodgers signing Garrett Cole or even Strasburg, because we both know that the Dodgers can sign either or right in this very second, just like that. I'm thinking more Garrett Cole than Steven Strasburg, and I don't think Strasburg would go to the Dodgers. I think of it more as the Padres, but the Dodgers, they need to focus more on signing Garrett Cole than now the buzz being Anthony Rendon. Hey, Dodgers, did you forget you already have a pretty talented local boy third baseman in Justin Turner? You don't need to shift his position. Enough with the shifting of positions. You need to address the pitching. As long as you don't do that, Dodgers, you're not going to win a World Series. Plain and simple. You're not going to win the World Series. If you keep the team the way it is right now, I don't see it happening. So, Dodgers, what you need to do, first of all, re-sign Ryu. I don't know why he's still a free agent before you lose him to teams potentially like the Angels, maybe to the Rangers, maybe even to the Phillies. Teams that can just come out of nowhere and just swoop up on Hyun-Jin Ryu. So do that. That's number one. Number two, yes, you just had meetings with Garrett Cole during this week, but he's already dropping hints. He wants to stay here in SoCal. So what are you doing? It's time to write up the check. Come on, let's go. If you're serious about winning, that is something that needs to be done. I mean, if you can get Josh Hader, wow, that is a major upgrade for the Dodgers right there. So if you're not thinking about getting Josh Hader right now, if you're not thinking about getting him on the trade block, then Dodgers, you're completely misunderstood. If you're going to sign a reliever as well, this just crossing my mind, Blake Treinen. He did not get an offer from the Oakland A's. So what are you doing? You need to be talking to Blake Treinen, who can potentially be a cheap bullpen piece for the Dodgers, and he would be a good setup man. Or, you know what? I'm putting it flat out there. The new closer. Kenley Jansen, you can't close games anymore. It's done. It's a wrap. No more. You're done. No more closing for you. You probably could be the setup man for Trinan, or you can even be the setup man for Josh Hader right there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The winter meetings in a couple of days coming right up. I mean, on Sunday evening they will be there. The live coverage will be there on MLB Network on Sunday night. So make sure to tune in on that, and that's where it begins. The next couple of days, the hunt for all 30 major league teams. That's where it begins right there, guys. But you know what? That's all the time I have left here on Sideline Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And, of course, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. If you guys enjoyed the content for today, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We're only 2 subscribers away from 100. So let's make sure to hit that 100 goal, guys. Again, I could not have done it without you guys. I'll thank you guys ahead of time. Unfortunately, there will not be an episode of Sideline Sports Podcast next week. I will be at the winter meeting, so I will not be able to record or be able to edit or anything like that. So, I'll keep you guys posted. Keep you guys posted with everything that's going on. But of course, this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Lean Mean Meals. Make sure to get your meal prep done with Mitch Dominguez. He's got you with your breakfast, your lunch, and even your dinner. He also has you with your detox juices along with the cold brew coffee. Make sure to use my promo code Sideline10 to save yourself 10% off on all of your orders. I'll make sure to put the link onto the description down below. As that's it from me, guys. I'm Alex Naveja signing off. And of course, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Have a good night, everybody.